The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, presented by WinBet. WinBet is now live in Arizona, Colorado, Indiana, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Tennessee, and Virginia. From boosted same game parlays to live in-game odds, WinBet has what you need to win. Bet $100 and get $100 at winbet.com or download the WinBet app. Start winning today. State restrictions apply. We're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Final Four Watch Party, April 1st, 7:30 p.m. SGP will be in the Ice House in Los Angeles, so come hang out with the crew. All the info you need is at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/icehouse. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. No me, no the voice, no the guy. It's me, really real, villain real, Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service, and it is a Friday in the association. So I got my guy Scott Studio Rochelle. Scott, what's going on?
Yeah, nothing much. Looking forward to going through the games today. To be honest, I think everyone was distracted by college yesterday, which was a pretty good reason because you had two of the best games that I've seen in a while. The Michigan State game's an all-timer. I mean, that's one of the best March Madness games I've ever seen. The Gonzaga one was good. It was actually very good, but you also had one team that didn't score a basket for 11-plus minutes in the second half. So that might have taken away some of the all-time status, but that shot from the parking lot to win the game was crazy. The collapse was crazy. It was unreal down the stretch. I was rooting for UCLA. I had UCLA in my bracket, but still, two crazy college basketball games. Three if you want to include the upset for Florida Atlantic and the UConn game. That wasn't even a game, so I'm not even going to count that. But still, yeah, just a lot of really good college basketball yesterday. That was really my main takeaway. The NBA itself was fine. The Nets found a way to blow a game, and now they are looking into probably being in the play-in. They have a huge head-to-head against Miami, but giving up a 12-2 run in the final minute 51 against Cleveland, give up an offensive rebound on a missed free throw, and you let Okoro hit a game winner. Brutal loss there for the Nets. Knicks had an excuse because Brunson didn't play, and they're on a back-to-back. But yeah, a couple of good games in the NBA, but mostly people were distracted by college, and rightfully so. That Michigan game, the Michigan State game was an all-timer.
Yeah, no, it was. It was a really, really good game. And I'm so glad that we cashed Kansas State instead of Marquise Noel cashing his Michigan State money line bet that he clearly had towards the end of that game, taking 3 logo shots. A very, very ill-advised logo shots.
Are we
one
sure
possession.
that one of them got tipped, by the way? Because I thought he airballed that one by 20 feet.
When you see the replay, like it's clear he tipped it. Like
I couldn't tell if it tipped it or he gave him the high five on the release, which is no longer a foul in the NBA, and I just wasn't sure if that was the case. But yeah, on the bright side though, with Norwell, he ended up setting the all-time record for most assists in a single March Madness
he had
game.
Michigan State money line. I don't care what nobody say. He had Michigan State.
He had like 19 assists.
You're 5'6", and you're taking 3 logo shots in the most critical time of the game. Like,
I made a joke about the review, by the way. I said that Michigan State should automatically get the ball because Norwell took the same terrible shot 3 times in a row.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Either way, I'll tell you
he
what,
really
though,
was trying to blow it.
Tang's a hell of a coach. I'm not sure if he's going to end up in the NBA at some point, but it wouldn't surprise me if he does because that guy can coach.
Yeah. I hope he's one of those college coaches that just they know they have their niche. Like everybody can't make the transition.
I think some coaches can.
The players really he could. I'm not saying he can't, but sometimes I don't know. I like to see good college coaches like have those longevity. And Tang is one of those guys that he could have longevity as a really, really good coach and win national titles. Hell, he could win a national title this year. He's in contention. So
he won me over a couple of weeks ago, but then he had the fake argument with Norwell into a lob in the middle of overtime, which is they ran the longest yard play in the middle of overtime in a Sweet 16 game, which is unreal. But yeah, Tang's a hell of a coach. I can't believe Izzo kept Hauser in the game for so long. Guy couldn't guard anybody in pick and roll switches, and they were just picking on him the entire second half. And then they just didn't take Hauser out of the game. Like, I just thought Izzo was really not that good down the stretch. Tang was. Very good win for Kansas State.
All right, enough of the college basketball experience here Before we get into the NBA slate, got to talk to you about the presenting sponsor and official online sportsbook of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and that is WinBet. Now active in Massachusetts, Boston, folks. You can bet on your Celtics tonight if you want to with WinBet, and be on the lookout for the WinBet Win Hour each and every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, where you can get the marquee game of the week for the best odds, giving you a larger payout. March Madness is here, so you can bet it at WinBet some today and receive a special offer. Bet $100, get $100, limited to state availability. And of course, don't forget the biggest long shot parlay of the week. If you hit the longest parlay of the week, you can get $1,000 free credit. So much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to head over to winbet.com and download the WinBet app. Offer subject change, terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 and older and present state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And we are going to have a Final Four watch party. SGP is at the historic Ice House in Pasadena, California. Saturday, April 1st, 7:30. Get all the details at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/icehouse and join us to watch the Final Four. And if you don't want to watch the Final Four, join us for the Masters, because Sean and Ryan are watching the Masters at Stadium Swim in Las Vegas, and you can win a free 3-night stay at Circa Las Vegas and hang out with the guys. Contest completely free to enter at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf party. And if you don't win the contest, you can still get a discount on a room. SGP15 is that promo code. So if you don't get the free room, get a discounted room. SGP15, and join the fellas in Vegas to watch the Masters. All right, Scott, we have a huge 10-game slate.
By the way, I'm still a big fan of how we are so programmed to reading the old WinBet read that we have to do like a double take every time. It was the same read for like a year, and then they switched
They
it up
changed
a little
it,
bit.
and they changed the link. They was like, no more Sports Gambling Podcast link. We're just gonna go throw out the regular WinBet link. And I'm like, all right. And you think it's easy until you're reading and you just say it. You just say it naturally, because everything else is the same. Everything is the same, but that one part.
I had the same thing happen to me in the tennis podcast. I had to make the transition.
Oh my gosh, it's terrible. It's terrible. I hate it. All right, yeah, the Raptors. Very tough loss. Very, very tough loss. But you know, it is what it is. We'll talk. But they were also laying double digits. On a back.
They closed double digits in the end.
Yeah, I think so. I think it closed at 10. So yeah, that is not a good look there. All right. First game on board, 7 p.m. on the East Coast slate. We have the Indiana Pacers going to play the Boston Celtics. Line opened up at 11.5, now up to 12 for -12 for the Boston Celtics. 234.5 is the total. That total's come up 2 points. Injury report for these two teams, and we have for the Indiana Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. Chris Duarte is questionable. Everybody else expected to go. For the Boston Celtics, you have Peyton Pritchard doubtful. Doesn't look like he's playing. Robert Williams is still coming off the bench, and they're having him in his yearly off the bench minutes restriction. So expect that role for Robert Williams in this game. Scott, because I think it's obvious where I'm going, but for you, you have -12 with Boston and TD Garden. One emphasis on TD Garden in there. What are you doing?
So the Pacers have been better recently in the first quarter, but I think that's probably where I'm going to lean, just because I do think on a back-to-back, Indiana might come out flat having to travel. They were just in Canada. Now they're traveling to Boston. It's not exactly a good scheduling spot. There are rumors that Halliburton might play. I'll believe it when I see it, but we'll just keep that in mind. It's a lot of points. Boston's been such a streaky team, and when they're on, they win a lot of games by a lot of points. But when they're off, they underachieve and they let other teams that are beneath them hang around. So it wouldn't surprise me if Boston wins this game comfortably, but on principle, I think I'm leaning to Indiana. The problem is we've noticed in the NBA for the last week or so, a lot of the double-digit favorites, like most of them, have covered pretty easily. And a lot of it has to do with bottom feeder teams, like the Rockets. I know they covered against Memphis, and we like them to cover against Memphis. They actually play again later tonight. But for the most part, the Spurs, I mean, they could be getting 30, and I wouldn't even take them, plus 30 at this point. But a lot of the double-digit underdogs have just gotten killed for the past week. So if you've been blindly betting the underdog, getting these points, you've been getting destroyed for the last week or so. I think I have to lean to Indiana, but I am a bit concerned. that Boston beating up on Sacramento. I know Sacramento was a bit shorthanded, but still, they beat up on Sacramento. They have looked better lately. It would not surprise me if Boston wins this game comfortably. My favorite play is the over. I see a bunch of points in this game. I don't think Indiana is going to stop Boston at all. The last game they had went to overtime, and Boston won, but it was still a very high-scoring game. I'm on the over as my favorite play. I don't see much defense being played here. We know that Indiana is going to force the pace. So I'm on the over. If I had to pick a side, I guess I'd lean Indiana, but it's mostly hoping Boston opens up a big lead. Then they kind of play with their food in the fourth quarter, and maybe Indiana makes a backdoor cover out of it. But my favorite play is the over. I see a lot of points in this game.
Yeah, that's about the same thing that I'm thinking. I'm on Indiana, and I like the over. We talk about Indiana past 5 games, 122 points per game. Only teams that are worse than that in the NBA are the Atlanta Hawks, Minnesota Timberwolves, Golden State Warriors. Crazy that the Warriors are in this category, and the San Antonio Spurs. So they're historically bad defense. And I think that they'll give up a bunch of points. And what honestly, truly should be like a get up spot for Boston. Boston, they're in a battle for this 2 seed right now.
Even besides the 2 seed, I mean, you mentioned the actual seeding. They're trying to win the division.
Yeah, you still are. You're trying to win the division as well. Yeah, so I think it's definitely a lot of motivation here for this. But this Indiana team just doesn't quit. They're not quitting, and it looks like that because I don't think Halliburton played last night.
No, I don't believe he did.
And so Halliburton, you're getting a fresh Halliburton in there. Duarte, I don't think Duarte played last night either. So he's coming in there a little bit fresh. I still see some scoring options and playmaking by Halliburton. And he gets up for spots like this. Like you're playing one of the best teams in the East. Tyrese Halliburton gets up for spots like this. So I think that this is a good spot where Boston going to have a little bit of revenge on their mind after getting embarrassed the last time they played this team. And Miles Turner, well, they didn't get embarrassed, but it should have been a blowout and Miles Turner dropped 40. They still got the win, but it didn't look pretty at all. And that was kind of like part of the catalyst of that ugly run that they had going on where they were losing like 3 or 4 or 5 of their last 6 games, something like that. And so I can see motivation on both these teams. It's a lot of points. I think it's a little closer than what the line is saying. So I'm going to go with Indiana plus 12. But that over that you said, I really, really like that over. I don't think that Indiana's stopping anything Boston has going on. And I don't think that Boston's going to commit enough in the second half defensively where they're not going to let Indiana score a bunch of easy points and push this total over. So I love the 234.5. I might bet that today, actually.
I think Boston could score 130. I think that Indiana could score 115. You might get both. So I'm on the over.
All right. And props. It is Miles Turner's birthday today.
I got to take him anyway, right? He had 40 last time they played.
He did. And I just think that 25 is not outside the realm possibility for Miles Turner. Like it truly is not. And you're talking about staggered Robert Williams minutes. And even without staggered Robert, he was giving Robert Williams the business last time. Like he gave him not just the drugs, he gave him the whole medicines cabinet. So yeah, Miles Turner points. I'm not on the rebounds though. I just can't. I can't bet Miles Turner rebounds. He goes really soft for rebounds for me. So, and the fact that he's like active defensively, so he's not in position for a lot of rebounds. I'll take the points, and that's how I play his birthday game. But what else do you like?
Well, I was going to ask you, since you mentioned the points, do you want to do a same game parlay with his threes as well, or don't even bother? That's kind of how he killed Boston last time out. He just went crazy from 3.
And I think they could. Yeah, why not? Let's do it. It's his birthday.
So that was just an option. Halliburton assists if he plays. I don't know if he's going to play or not. There's no line for that right now. I think I'm on Tatum in the spot. I know it's a 30.5. He had a 36 piece against Sacramento. The problem with Tatum is that he's extremely streaky as well, which it kind of makes sense why he's the best player on this team, because I think they have the same flaws. Like, you want them to be a bit more consistent, and when it's good, it's really good. But when it's bad, it's really, really bad. And Tatum has some brutal games where he can't hit water if he fell out of a boat. But I think he's in good form now. So I think Tatum could potentially go for 40 in this game. It wouldn't totally surprise me. I think I like Tatum over. I'm pretty sure he had a good game against Indiana last time out. He also had the dagger putback, I think, in overtime in that game. But I'm going to go with Tatum. I think that he's going to have a massive game tonight. Potential 40 piece. I don't mind the threes, but it seems like he got back on track against Sacramento after having a terrible stretch for a week or two there. I think he keeps it rolling at home. Give me a Tatum masterclass performance tonight.
Yeah, you
and
go
potentially
Tatum.
Brown too. I think both can go nuts.
No, yeah, that's what I was. So that's what I was gonna do. I said you're going Tatum. I'm gonna go Jaylen Brown. I get 4 points of a less number, and essentially, I wouldn't say the same player, but just as good as Jason Tatum, I think. And I mean, both of these guys are streaky. Like, you never know what you're gonna get from either one of them, honestly. But I think that this is a matchup where both of them say, hey, we can exploit this at home and we can go out here and really have a good finish to the season, because they really fell off after All-Star break. And I know they're disappointed in how they look after the All-Star break. So I think both of them rise to the occasion and say, hey, let's have a really good, strong end to the season. So
I'm
I
just
like
trying to see if there's
Jaylen
any other
Brown.
props that I might like.
I don't see anything for Indiana, and for good reason. Halliburton, you need to know Halliburton's status
They
before
also
you know
played
what to
yesterday.
put everybody else
so.
at.
Yeah.
Oh, and they played yesterday. Yeah, forgot about that. I actually see some 3-point props up here, though. Yeah, some people that have 3-point props.
I saw somebody was mentioning Horford before.
Mm,
2.5 threes for him is plus 124. If the argument's that Turner is going to be standing in the paint the entire time, then Horford might get some looks in the corner. I guess that's an argument.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just not feeling Horford today. I'm good on Horford.
I think I like the Tatum over. Tatum's a 3.5. I could really see Tatum having a huge game tonight.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Before we get into the next game, I got to talk to you quick about Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is heating up for March Madness. College Pick'em is a great way to get on the action, especially because everybody's bracket is busted. So you can go in there and still have good, fun ways to play in their college pick'em contest. They have player props, and you can still tap into the NBA if you want to. In Underdog, you can tap into the NBA. Head over to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's underdogfantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. All right. Let's
By the way,
keep going.
we forgot Indiana actually did not play yesterday. The Toronto game was the day before.
Oh, okay.
I forgot that there were only 4 games on the NBA card yesterday.
Yeah, we talked about it. Didn't we talk? Yeah, we talked about that game. Yeah, that's why. It was yesterday for us. All right. San Antonio Spurs are in Washington, D.C. to play the Washington Wizards. Line opened up at 6.5, now up to 8 for the Wizards, -8. 228 is the total. That's come down from 234.5. Injury report for these two teams, and we have the San Antonio Spurs. Keldon Johnson is probable with a neck injury. Zach Collins is questionable with the bicep injury. Devin Vassell is questionable via injury management. Jeremy Sohan is out for injury management. Trey Jones is probable for injury management. Devontae Graham is probable. Devontae Graham and Doug McDermott both probable for injury management. Romeo Langford is out. I mean, they keep saying injury management. They should really just put tanking.
Yeah.
And for the Washington Wizards, well, looky here. Bradley Beal and Kyle Kuzma are both out for this game with knee and ankle injuries, respectively. So it's the Chris Porzingis show today. Laying 8 with Washington without Beal and without Kuzma.
So San Antonio has lost 2 straight games by at least 35 points. However, if you look at their actual roster projection for this game, a decent amount of starters are actually expected to play in this game. Trey Jones is probable. I see Keldon Johnson supposed to play. Vassell's questionable. Collins is a maybe, so we'll see. The question is, we talk a lot about teams that are tanking and just the potential emotional issues that teams are having if they're not exactly playing for much. What is Washington playing for? They just got killed they just lost to Orlando. Their playoff hopes are basically over. They're not going to make the play-in.
I think they want to lose.
I was going to say, are we sure Washington's fully they're benching Beal potentially for the rest of the year because they know that their hopes are screwed, and the Orlando loss was kind of the nail in the coffin there.
You're 1.5 game back from a top a secure top 5 pick. 1.5 games and you get a top 5 pick.
And once again, to remind everybody, the odds for the top 2 or 3 picks in the NBA lottery are the same percentage. So it's not like it really matters if San Antonio wins this game or not. They're going to have the same percentage to get Wembanyama as the Rockets or even the Pistons or any of those teams.
I think
I'm leaning San
Washington has
Antonio.
more. Yeah, Washington has more reason to tank. Like at least they're trying to get better odds and get a top 5 pick. San Antonio is locked into the top 3, or well,
I'm
not top 3, but like locked into the top 3 best
top
percentage.
3 odds for the
Yeah,
number
but
1 pick.
I'm pretty sure like after you do the calculations and stuff, if the Magic finish above the Wizards are locked into a top 5 pick, or no matter how the balls fall, and that is huge. And I mean, it's clear that they're trying to do it. They're sitting Beal. So if we just look at if we look at the rosters, I'll take Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell over anybody not named Kristaps Porzingis on that Wizards roster right now.
And just to read off the projected starting lineup for Washington, Monte Morris, Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia, Porzingis, and Gafford. That team's
Like
laying 8 points in the NBA.
Like who are you taking outside of Porzingis over Vassell and Johnson?
I'm not an Avdia points guy, but I actually could see Avdia having like a pretty solid rebounding and assist game, but he's not exactly a great offensive player. I have no idea. You
Yeah,
take
we're
Kispert
taking
threes
it's
blindly and you hope
Spurs.
Kispert goes nuts. Like, I can't lay 8 points with that starting lineup. I can't do it. I'm gonna have to lead to San Antonio, and they might
Sprinkle on
come
the
up
money
later
line.
for the dog, but we'll see.
Sprinkle on the money line. Sprinkle on the money line because Washington's not good, guys.
I wouldn't even rush
Washington's
this, to be honest. San Antonio losing 2 straight games by 35 plus points, and nobody's going to sprint to the winner to bet on this team. But I really think Washington might be actively punting, as you said before.
Yeah.
So I'm not taking the Wizards.
Yeah. All right. And because the Beal out and Kuzma out and all the other uncertainty with San Antonio, this line has dropped from 234.5 to 228.
I think I have to lean to the under. I know San Antonio's defense isn't great. The offense has been bad too, but we just went through Washington's entire team. You're relying on Monte Morris or Kispert to go nuts. You're assuming Porzingis walks into 30. There's no guarantee for that either. Is Porzingis minutes going to get limited? Maybe. If they're actually trying to lose, I don't know if he's going to play a full workload here. I think I have to go with the under.
Man, if San Antonio gets out, this is one of those San Antonio first half plays for me again. But
Yeah,
like
if San Antonio,
if San Antonio gets out early and they build a lead, they're gonna pack it in. Like they're not fighting back in this game. They're gonna pack it in. I'd rather take the chance with the +8 and the plus money. And yeah, give me the under 228. I kind of want to go. Part of me wants to go over because I hate closing line value and stuff like this, but I'll go under because it just feels like such an under game.
Well, I think there's 2 ways for the under to hit. Either the Wizards look underwhelming offensively because they are missing 2 of their best 3 weapons, or you have the Spurs who can barely break 90 points in the last 2 games, and they continue to suck offensively. And then if one of those teams struggles, you win. So you have several ways to cash the under here. I'm going to go with the under.
All right. Props.
I
mean,
you blindly going Porzingis? I don't know who else is going to shoot on this team. He's been good lately. Killed Orlando.
Porzingis threes. I've been giving out Porzingis threes for a while, and he's been
numbers
consistently
low usually.
Hitting. Yeah, 1.5 sometimes, maybe 2.5 at plus money. Porzingis threes, another angle I like, but I'm going to my guys that always hold it down for us on the Spurs side of the ball, and that is Keldon Johnson and Devin Vassell.
Assuming Vassell plays. I like Johnson as well.
If Vassell doesn't play, then I'm pivoting to Branham.
That's fair. Zach Collins might not play. As everybody knows, I'm aboard the Mamukashvili train, and he's done pretty well for points. So I'd look for him over if you get a number on him. Scoff at it all you want. Guy's been putting up double digits. He's been actually putting in some work. But I'm trying to think of what else I want to do here because I was blindly considering Avdia double-double. And I've roasted Avdia for most of the year because I don't think he's a very good basketball player. But based on the usage he should be getting in this game and the fact that Gafford gets into foul trouble all the time and Avdia has been good on the glass, double-doubles plus 215, which sounds a little bit low, but I'm wondering if I'm better off just taking the rebounds instead of the points. Because the last 2 games he had 15 and 16, but he went 5 for 6 from the floor and 7 of 9 from the floor. So I'm not exactly sold on him keeping up that high percentage for a guy who's only going to attempt 9 shots tops. Might go up now, but the point is, I do think if you want to go for a sneaky prop here, I don't mind Avdia 10 plus rebounds at around plus 185.
Okay. Dang, I feel like it should be more than plus 185.
I
Though.
think it should too, but I think that's also telling. I think that they're expecting Avdia to get a lot of minutes and to grab
What's
some
his
boards.
and what's
We
his
know
double price?
it's like plus 215.
Okay.
I'd rather save the 30 cents because once again, if he's going to attempt 9 shots tops, and the only reason why he's gone over is because he's shooting 80% from the floor, I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather pivot and only take the rebounds. But we know Porzingis isn't exactly aggressive on the glass.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you. I like it. Next game on the slate, we have the Detroit Pistons going to play the Toronto Raptors. Toronto's laying 14.5. That's come up from 12.5 to 14.5. 224 is the total in this one. Injury report for the Pistons, and you have Jalen Duran, who is not on the injury report. Isaiah Livers is probable. Alec Burks, Rodney Magruder are both out. And then you know that Isaiah Stewart, Bojan, Hamidou Diallo, all pretty much shut down for the rest of the year. And for the Toronto Raptors, you have Scotty Barnes questionable with the wrist injury, Gary Trent Jr. questionable with the elbow, Persis Achua questionable with the hamstring, Joe Wisekamp questionable with the hamstring as well. Banton is out. So depth pieces, but Gary Trent and Scotty Barnes are the names to really, and Precious Achua, honestly, are the names to really pay attention to because they did not practice Thursday after missing the Wednesday game. So no game Wednesday, no practice Thursday. We'll see what they look like today. Are we really laying 14.5 with a team with this many question marks? I mean, I know it's the Pistons, but seriously.
So I'm looking up the history of these teams, and yes, I know it can vary depending on how good the teams are year by year. But Toronto's been a steady
Dwayne
playoff team
Casey.
for a
It's
while.
Dwayne Casey. That's
So
the tweet. That's the tweet. Nothing else say. Dwayne Casey.
do you know the last time Toronto beat Detroit by at least 15 points? How many meetings has it been since it's happened?
I mean, it has to be at some point when Dwayne Casey was head coach because Dwayne Casey's been busting their ass with the Pistons, and even when he's losing close.
Detroit has covered 14.5 against Toronto in 17 straight meetings.
I mean,
17.
That's,
You look at the games this season, if you want to just go by how bad Detroit's been. They've played three times. Toronto's won all 3. They won by 4, they won by 1, they won by 4. Before that, Detroit won 6 straight. Outright. 6 straight against Toronto.
That's what the fuck Toronto gets for firing Dwayne Casey when he won Coach of the Year. Very, very, very rough firing. I understand.
Getting fired after Coach of the Year is still crazy, but
and the fact is, he got fired because of LeBron. Mm-hmm. He didn't get fired because of him. He got fired because LeBron. Because LeBron was busting their ass every single year in the playoffs, and they couldn't get past them. And then they ended up blowing the team up, starting over. And yeah, they won a championship. But man, that is brutal. And so
I'm on Detroit.
I don't even know why. Who is betting Toronto in this spot?
It's another example of a team that's tanking, and once again, if you blindly back the double-digit favorites, you've done well, but Toronto's not going to be one of them. The argument is, well, they just lost to Indiana. They're still competing for a play-in spot. You know, maybe they'll show up. Detroit, for some reason, has given them problems for several years. I don't know why.
Dwayne Casey has gone into that locker room, and I don't know if you've seen the video. I think it's like of a foreign soccer team or something, and the guy goes and he slaps every player on the team.
Like Russia, yeah.
Yes, that is literally what Dwayne Casey does to them before the Toronto game, every single game. Like, they are so locked into the Toronto game every single time. I mean, it doesn't matter what lineup they have. Would you be surprised if Killian Hayes probably goes out here and scores 20 tonight? Just because it's Toronto. And Dwayne Casey slapped him up before the game and said, "Hey, I need you to learn how to shoot the ball today." I just, there's no way I'm ever laying this amount of points with Toronto against the Pistons. Like,
based on historical trends as well, no matter how bad Detroit has been, they've always gotten up for Toronto. You mentioned Dwayne Casey, maybe even before it was Dwayne Casey, but Toronto's always had issues, and I'm not going to back a team that can't beat Indiana at home outright without Halliburton to win by 15 plus points. I can't do it. Give me the Pistons.
Pistons plus 14.5. Pistons sprinkle on the money line. It's so simple for this one. I cannot imagine everybody is betting Toronto. Like, I just don't know how you can see them playing the Pistons and say I'm going to go to Toronto.
It's all fun and games betting Toronto until you see Van Vliet take 14 shots in the first half, and suddenly you're reevaluating your entire life. So it happened in the Indiana game. Went 4 for 14 in the first half. Why is Van Vliet taking 14 shots and a half? I have no idea. But whatever. Yeah, I'm on Detroit. For the total, I'm up in the air on this one. I think I'm going to lean under. I don't feel great about the total, so I think I'm just going to stay away, but I feel better about the spread. You have any thoughts on the total?
I keep forgetting to pull up a ref report.
Oh, you're looking for one guy, right?
No, he's gone. He's gone. They said he's gone. Really but I keep forgetting to like just keep taking that and putting that into our total handicap because that's actually like a really good big addition. So let me go ahead. We have John Goebel, Mitchell Irvin, and Matt Myers for the refs tonight.
Goebel's a little bit on the underside because his points per game is, I mean it's not that special. Let me just see.
Here we go. I got it pulled up right here, and so Goebel is 37 and 48 against the spread, not against the spread, but 37-48 to the over, so 48-37 to the under. Yeah, he's an under ref for sure. All right, and he's the crew chief tonight. You have, let's see what Irvin is.
You look up Irvin, I'll look up Myers.
Irvin is 33 and 24. So there's an over one there. Do you have Myers or
can I don't have the spread, or I don't have the over under.
23 and 23.
I'm just gonna look up the actual points per game that he's only done 46 games.
Yeah,
which I find fascinating. But either way, I think I'm on the under here.
Goebel being the crew chief, like it gives me under vibes. So I'm fine with the under with that.
So does that mean we're blindly taking like Wiseman and Pirtle rebounds because we're expecting a lot of bricks in this game?
Absolutely. Maybe throw in Bagley in there. Well, because Duran's in there, but he's going to probably come off the bench. He still should get some. He should really get like some really good minutes coming off the bench with probably alternating off the floor with Jakob Pirtle. And yeah, because who else is really when Duran's in the game coming off the bench? Who else is really combating him for boards? We should look at his double-double today. It's probably not out now, but we can probably get it later. And it's probably going to be an inflated line because he's coming off the bench for this game, or at least projected to come off the bench. And there's really nobody. Huh?
Are the minutes decent for Duran off the bench?
Yeah, it's like regular off the bench. Like it's not like he had a minutes restriction when he was playing. It's just he was coming off the bench instead of starting.
All right, he missed the last game with a neck injury, but he's back. So I'm going to ignore the Miami game because he played 9 minutes because he hurt his neck. Played 27 minutes, 18 minutes, 24, 20, 21. The minutes aren't great, but you look at the numbers, 15 and 13, 9 and 8, 12 and 11, 16 and 11, 8 and 9. You might be on to something. He's been close despite not playing many minutes.
Yeah, we're gonna get a good number on him when they drop his props, and we can hit him over the head for that. So I really do like that today.
If it's anywhere north of like 5-1, I'll probably throw it in a long shot parlay.
Yeah, I agree. All right. And I'm on the Wiseman train. Everybody knows I'm on the Wiseman train. I really like Wiseman. I really
he's good. He's just a bad fit for Golden State.
Yeah, and I mean, I when it happened, people said I was crazy. Golden State needs a big, so they was smart for them to draft Wiseman. I was like, I don't know. I probably just would have took my shot on LaMelo, honestly.
Do you know how hard it is to actually like find a center that can play the Golden State way with all the off-ball movement and all of it? It's really, really difficult to find it.
It's got to be a veteran. It can't be a young guy. It has to be a veteran.
And you have to be able to switch on everybody on defense. That's extremely difficult to find.
Yeah. All right. And that's why Looney, has been there for so long.
Yeah.
All right. Next game on the slate, we have the Houston Rockets going to play the Memphis Grizzlies in part 2. Was the other one in Memphis too, or was that one in Houston?
I'm pretty sure they were both in Memphis.
Yeah, it was in Memphis. Okay. So we had this game on Wednesday when we broke down, and we
were both all over Houston.
Yep, it was 12 points in that one. Game finished 130-125. Memphis. It was a close game the whole way. That 12 was never in doubt. We were actually waiting on the money line, honestly.
Hmm.
This time it's 13. Open at 13, stayed true to 13. Line for the total stayed the same as well, 233.5. Injury report for these two teams, and we have for the Houston Rockets. Jashawn Tate is out as always. Frank Kaminsky is on this team. I didn't even know that. But he has a migraine, so he's questionable. And I mean, I'm not playing with no migraine. And for
Neither was Scottie
Memphis,
Pippen in Game 7, so it's fine.
for Memphis, Dylan Brooks suspended. He's available. He's coming off that suspension for that Tech. Does Dylan Brooks get another suspension for Techs this season? They have how many games left?
The answer is yes, but the only question is which game is he going to have that?
They have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games left. Yeah, he probably gets suspended again.
I assume he's going to, because even though there's a bunch of theatrics involved and you could say that it's cheesy and how you don't like him as a player, they've been winning. So whatever he's doing, I don't know if it's actually contributing or anything, but if they're trying to regain some toughness, it's working, I guess.
Until he gets into the playoffs.
Dylan Brooks' mind, him getting ejected might be the reason why this team is winning. So he's going to keep doing it,
I mean, as long as when we get into the playoffs and they're up single possession with 30 seconds left, Dylan Brooks isn't taking that shot. I mean, I don't have any issue. Zaire Williams
There's a certain amount of narcissism involved with Brooks where he can do all this stuff and he thinks he's the reason or the catalyst why the team has been winning. He's not going to change anything. He'll keep doing the same thing he's been doing.
Zaire Williams and Vince Williams are both out for this game. And Steven Adams is set to be reevaluated in a couple of weeks. So we'll see if he'll make it for the playoffs. But basically, he's done for the regular season. All right. Ja played off the bench last game. I don't know if he's coming back into the starting lineup this game. So I can't really give you a handicap on that.
Even if he doesn't, he only played 24 minutes. So you're assuming a worst case scenario, bump it up to 30.
Yeah, but he pretty much. We'll see what happens with Ja. But Dylan Brooks is definitely back in the starting lineup. All right. A little bit of a different situation here. Yeah. 13. What are you doing?
First of all, shout out to Kevin Porter Jr., who had a casual triple-double that not enough people talked about in the last game. It's going to be different now that Brooks is back. You can roast Brooks all you want for being an overrated player. Or I can't even say he's overrated because everyone just hates him now. He's still probably their best on-ball defender on the perimeter. So I don't think Houston's going to have that easy of an offensive game as they had last time out because Green did whatever he wanted, Porter did a triple-double. The offense looked very good for Houston, which we thought was going to be the case because Brooks, we've seen the Grizzlies without Brooks and they can't guard anybody. So Memphis, I think, should have a very good game, but it's still a lot of points. And Memphis have had a hard time of fully trusting to bury teams when they can. They also let teams hang around a bit late in games. Their half-court offense isn't great, which is why a lot of people don't like them in the playoffs, because if the pace slows down and they're not in transition, they don't look good in the half-court. I think I'm going to lean to Houston. It's a lot of points. I'm not saying that Houston's going to win the game, but I do think they showed last time out they can compete with Memphis. That's good enough for me. If you're getting double digits and I know you're going to compete, I'm going to take you. I'll lean Houston. Give me an 8-point loss.
I am very conflicted. I do think that this game plays a different script because that last game was competitive from start to finish.
And defensively, you're assuming Memphis will be better because Brooks is back in the lineup.
Yes. And so I think I want to play the Grizzlies early and play them in the first quarter, getting 4.5 right now. It's a little bit large for a first quarter number, but I think that they come out and they really impose themselves, especially I really feel better about it if Josh starts. I don't know if they're going to keep going with him coming off the bench or not, but I feel a lot better about it.
You're talking about the home first half play?
Yeah, first quarter, first half play. Looking at that first half -8 kind of turned me off, so I just decided to go to the first quarter instead. They're still 8-2 to the first quarter of their last 10 home games. Last 10 road games for the Houston Rockets, they are 5-5 to the number in the first quarter. So I like my chances with that first quarter minus 4.5. Hopefully, we'll see what Ja. I may change my tune if Ja is coming off the bench, but if he's starting, then I feel pretty confident about that first quarter play for sure. However, for the game, I this just screams Memphis gets out to 20 plus lead, and
Do they get
maybe
bored?
they get bored, foot off the gas. You're missing a lot of depth pieces at this point for Memphis. You're missing Vince Williams. You're missing Zaire Williams. You're missing what's Brandon
Adams?
Clark, who's done for the year. Adams, that destroys things. So Tillman is probably getting more minutes with the starting unit, and then you're missing a depth piece there. So you're leaning on Roddy to make sure that he holds things down, coming down, who's been playing pretty decent. But I think there's
I like
still,
Roddy. I was a
yeah, I
fan of
do.
him at Louisiana. I was at
Colorado
he was
State.
at Colorado State. I was
Yeah.
thinking, yeah,
You're
Lofton was
thinking
the
of
one from
Lofton.
Louisiana Tech. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So I just think the depth pieces, when it gets to the point where they start pulling the starters, that's when the backdoor cover comes. So I don't like it, but I'll take the plus 13 with Houston for the full game. But I really, really like that first quarter number right now. And right now, that's my play for the game.
I think my
230.
favorite play, the more that I think about it, it's probably Memphis team total over.
Okay.
I really don't see Houston getting many stops. We
Mhm.
just saw Memphis go for 130 against this team. Ja's probably going to play more minutes. Might even start. We'll see what happens there. But you look at the 3 meetings this season, scored 129 in the first meeting, 113 in the second meeting, not great, but scored 130 in the third meeting. So they've scored at least 129 in 2 of the 3 meetings, and Memphis is 31-5 at home. I think
Mhm.
Grizzlies team total over is probably worth a look.
Yeah, I like it. Aaron's also adding in the chat. Grizzlies are 5-1 ATS. Their last 6 games following an ATS loss. That's a really good stat. Great pull on that one. So good, more fuel for the fire for that 13. I think my only concern is that there's a lot of Memphis money coming on Memphis, and the line hasn't moved up at all. Like normally, when you see all the money poured in on Toronto game, and that went up 2 points already.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. It kind of makes me nervous that this line is staying true at 13. I would love to see this at least get 13.5 and make me feel like somebody sharp is betting Memphis, but it just seems like the public is on Memphis. All right, 233.5. Yeah, I think it's the Memphis team total. Like at
Yeah.
the very least, I feel comfortable about Memphis scoring. I don't know what form of Houston we're gonna get.
I'm trying to see if I could find a very, very fun. You mentioned the bench double for Duran last game. I'm trying to see if I could find a Ja double. What if he just comes out 28 minutes, 20 points, 10 assists?
10 assists. Yeah, I like it. So I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be out, especially because they don't. I mean, once they announce, hey, he's starting, or hey, he's coming off the bench, and Taylor Jenkins is going to do that at some course of the game, then they'll give us his props and we'll get a better number. But if either way, I think we just play Ja double regardless.
Yeah, I don't see a prop on him, unfortunately. So I'll wait and see if I can get it.
All right.
Do you
So
like Jaren Jackson double at plus 340?
I can't get on his rebounds, man. I cannot get there on his rebounds, man.
Tillman double is 12-1.
Tillman just feels like the guy that everybody bets for a double on this team, and he just never gets there.
Yeah, pretty much. But he had
I'm back on
14 and 10
Aldama.
against Golden
I'm
State.
back on Aldama. I'm going back to Aldama double. I called it the other day what game was it? Somebody tell me what game it was that I called Aldama double. I can't remember. Maybe was it this game? No, it wasn't this game. What was the game that John missed? That last game that they won that John missed.
John missed a lot of games.
Oh my gosh.
Let me
It was
let me just quickly see
I
which
think it
game
was
it
the
was.
Golden
It was
State.
against the
No.
Mavericks.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the Mavericks game because the Mavericks had no front court. Yeah. Aldama's big guy, hangs around the rim. He's always in position, when Triple J is out there, he gets a block or anything. He kind of falls with the rebounds. I'm back on Aldama rebounds again. I don't like Tillman. Tillman just doesn't get there. Like he
His stats are
should.
horrible, to be honest, but
Yeah, he should, but he doesn't get there. I think that his contribution doesn't show up on a stat sheet, whereas Aldama, it does, and it shows up in the rebound category. So I'll be back on Aldama when they drop his props later in the day because he's coming off the bench. It's normally at like 6.5, 7.5, something like that. All right. Anything else for this one?
No, I don't see much. If you want to go for player props, it really could go in a variety of ways depending on if you think Memphis pulls all the starters at some point, or if you think that Houston makes it competitive or they get blown out. So tread a little bit carefully in this game, but I still think you'll end up seeing Memphis probably score 125 points, probably more.
They're saying Jalen Green points? My concern for that is the fact that Dylan Brooks is back in this game, and
Yeah.
I have to assume that that's where Dylan Brooks' matchup is going to be this game with Jalen Green.
Even if you don't like Brooks, you have to account for it.
Yeah, and so even if he's only getting matched up with him half the game, that's still going to be like very disruptive. So I don't know if I'm 100% with. I haven't been a Jalen Green better, honestly. Jalen Green reminds me of Fred VanVleet a lot, and just the inconsistency shooting the ball, but he can put up points. So it's like he's always good for 35, but is he gonna hit his shots to get to the 35?
He'll keep shooting. So there's that.
I like Jabari Smith rebounds though. He's
Okay.
been doing good on the glass, and this is a plus matchup with. Again, we just talked about all the uncertainty of who was rebounding the ball for the Grizzlies. Jabari Smith has done really, really good. Şengün should have a good. Like they should be able to get rebounds in this game as well. So I like those players.
I want to actually look up Jaren Jackson points really quickly before I forgot.
Because he's been going crazy.
He's been going nuts. He's had at least 25 points in 5 straight games. He had 37 last game, 28 game before that, 31 against Golden State. I'm assuming his number's going to be high, but I do want to at least acknowledge it before I move on. His points number is, I don't even see it. That's fantastic. Okay. Let me check another book. I don't know why they wouldn't have him listed. Like he's clearly going to play in this game. Sorry, I just
pulled probably the Ja effect. Let's see. I have for Jackson 21.5 at minus 104.
Okay. I mean, he's had 25 plus in 5 straight.
Yeah.
He had 37 last game.
And if Ja's has a minutes restriction, he should still get the usage.
Yep. I'm just going to throw that out there, though. Jaren Jackson points is probably worth at least consideration.
I would rather bet on Jaren Jackson Jr. than Xavier Tillman.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Tillman I mentioned for the 12-1, but then I looked at his stats, and he starts on paper. He doesn't actually play that much. All right.
Next game on the... how many games we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, no.
We got time for one more.
Yeah, let's do. All right. Charlotte Hornets are going to play the Dallas Mavericks in Dallas. Dallas opened up as a 12-point favorite. And they have moved to 14.5.
Do we need to mention anything else besides Dallas laying 14 points at home? Or could we just wrap it up from that?
No, we can actually really finish this really quickly. But to go through the theatrics and the build up to what our pick is, well, everybody knows, but what the pick is going to be. 227.5 is the total. That's come up from 225.5. Injury report for these two teams. And we have for the Charlotte Hornets going to see a lot of TBDs because they played yesterday where they were actually competitive in that game for like 3 quarters, I think. At one point, I remember looking at the score. I was score watching. I wasn't watching. But I remember looking at the score. It was like 78, 74. Like it was a really close game. And then next thing I look up, it's like 104, 80 something. I'm like, whew, that's a concern.
They got better. They didn't score basically any points in the first half of the fourth quarter. They got absolutely smacked. They only scored 15 in the fourth. Yeah, got outscored by 12 in the fourth. So the game was competitive for 3 quarters.
Yeah. All right. No LaMelo, Mark Williams, or Corey Martin, but TBDs on Dennis Smith Jr., Kelly Oubre, and Terry Rozier. For the Dallas Mavericks, Kyrie Irving is questionable. Tim Hardaway Jr. is questionable. I don't see anything here for Luka, so it looks like he's going to play in this game.
But Luka played last game. The question is Kyrie, because he also sat against Golden State.
And Tim Hardaway Jr. sat as well.
Yeah.
All right. I still can't do it.
Of course, I can't do it either.
15, 30, and 2 as a favorite this season. 13, 22, and 2 at home this season against the spread. And if we go and look at their numbers as a home favorite, they are, let's see, just go to the bottom. 10, 19, and 2 as a home favorite this season. I mean, this is like Miami Heat level territory here. Yeah. can't do it.
I'm on Charlotte.
Just give me the 14.5. Charlotte figures out something from that game yesterday, and they come out here and they give the Mavericks a game. And Luka probably has to do some Luka-like things, especially if you're not getting Kyrie or Tim Hardaway Jr.
I'm hoping Kyrie doesn't play because I think Luka's going to walk into 40. So I'll probably bet something involving Luka if Kyrie's out. There's one guy that I really, really want to bet, but I have to wait to see if they release the numbers. I'm sure you know who it is. It's my boy, Nick Richards. Finally giving him minutes. They took 4 or 5 months to finally realize he's good enough to actually start, and he's been crushing.
No, it didn't take 4. I want you to know it didn't take 4 or 5 months. It took trading Mason Plumlee and then Mark Williams getting injured, because if Mark Williams was playing, Nick Richards still wouldn't be getting minutes.
I've been praising Richards for months, and now he's finally playing, and he's walking into like 14 and 12 every game. And now they're like, oh, this Nick Richards guy's pretty good. It's like, yes, I was aware of that.
I cashed his double-double on Monday. I believe that was Monday when we... It was 215. 215. Was it Monday? That might have been Bob. It was one day recently on this show that I cashed Nick Richards.
He's the only center they have. And Dallas has no centers.
And he's athletic as fuck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's super easy. Nick Richards double-double.
No props
whenever they drop it, just take it. All right. Yeah. Charlotte plus 14.5. Nick Richards double-double. Total, I really don't care.
I think I'm going to lean over. The only argument that I really have for the over is if I think Charlotte keeps it competitive, I'm not suddenly going to expect Charlotte to play defense. I'm just hoping Dallas doesn't guard anybody either, and you get a bit of a track meet on your hands. So I'm going to lean to the over. I think it's correlated. I think if Dallas wins, the game goes on. If Dallas covers somehow, the game goes under. Because, I mean, Charlotte just no-showed the game offensively. But if it goes over, that means Charlotte actually does their part. So I think it's correlated. I'll lean to Charlotte in the over.
All right. Somebody said Jayden Hardy's points. You got to wait and see that injury report and see what they do with Kyrie and Tim Hardaway Jr. because Jason Kidd has pretty much said that, yeah, Hardy, you're only getting minutes when, like, a bunch of guys are out. Like, he doesn't get any type of minutes or usage when these guys play. Like, his minutes go from 20, 25 to 5 very, very quickly when players are in the lineup. So you got to be careful. But I do like Hardy as a player. If people are out, then I will definitely be on Hardy points.
And JR, I got bad news for you. We didn't forget about Dwight Powell. We just didn't mention Dwight Powell.
Who?
There's a difference, you know.
Who?
That guy who takes all the minutes away from Christian Wood.
Oh, that guy. Yeah,
that guy.
Screw him. All right. We are about to go ahead and cut here for part 2 of the podcast. If you're listening to the podcast version, just slide over to part 2. If you're on YouTube, hang tight. We are coming right back. And we are back with the NBA Gambling Podcast, part 2 edition. Looky here. What do we have? We have the Milwaukee Bucks traveling to the Utah Jazz. In Utah, laying 9.5 points. The Jazz are plus 9.5. Home dog, 236.5 is the total. Injury report for these two teams. And you have Chris Middleton, Jay Crowder, Myers Leonard, and Gordon Dragic all out for this game. Utah Jazz, you have Lauri Markkanen, Jordan Clarkson, Rudy Gay out. Johnny Juzang is questionable, actually.
UCLA could have used him yesterday.
Yeah, that scoring drought was just... I'm really, sick about that.
I'm disgusted.
I had a UCLA national championship future. I had them in the brackets. I had a lot of stock in UCLA, even with the injuries, and I got let down. All right. 9.5 with Utah. I mean...
Are you taking it even though they're missing a lot of key pieces?
Yes. 1,000 times yes. There's been so many times that they've been missing pieces and they still found ways to get it done. I'm just not I'm not afraid of doing it. I'm really not. And I mean, look, you're missing Chris Middleton, Jay Crowder. Like, those are two really good pieces. Even Dragic's been getting minutes. Like, those are some depth pieces for this Milwaukee team. So I think that they can really have some issues coming off the bench. And don't sleep on the bigs for Utah with Walker Kessler and Azubuike coming off the bench as well. Like, they can fill the lane. There can be a little bit of struggle for some points inside the paint there. I'm not going to say that they're about to stop Giannis, but I think they can slow anybody else down that's trying to get some easy points. Kelly Olynyk there too. I'm not even talking about him defensively, but the fact that he just finds ways to help put points. He can stretch the floor, help try to draw some of those guys outside of the paint. I'll be betting his 3-point prop today as well. You're probably getting that at plus money. So I mean, there's so many ways that people have just stepped up for Utah and made these games close. And that 27-10-1 against the spread as an underdog is just really hard to ignore. Like, really, really hard to ignore. I can't go against it. We've been riding the train all season. I'm going to keep enjoying it. I'm just going to keep enjoying it. So, Utah is 10-1 ATS this season as a home underdog. 10-1. I'm not bucking the trend.
They've only been a home underdog 11 times.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And that's how that. I mean, but remember, it was such a quick.
They overreacted.
Yeah, they overreacted for a very long time, so they were favored in a lot of those games, and that's the games that we were getting, the best price, and that's where we were fading them as a favorite. So, yeah, no, I'm really, really good on Milwaukee. I just have to go with my guys. I don't care if I lose. I have to go with my guys. Utah plus 9.5. Little Salt Bay sprinkle on the money line.
Yeah, I unfortunately made the mistake of backing Utah as a favorite last game against Portland. That did not go well.
I told you it was a letdown spot.
I can't even say it was a letdown spot because Utah just sucked defensively. I actually don't know what Utah's even doing defensively. Have you watched the Jazz in the past week?
Yeah.
They only play a 2-3 zone.
Yeah.
I don't know what's happening with this defense. And Portland, you mentioned the paint defense and how they have, of course, Kessler, who might win a Defensive Player or Two of the Year award. They gave up 66 points in the paint to Portland. 66. I watched it. It was awful. They couldn't stop anybody. I'm gonna lean to Utah on principle. It's probably gonna bury me.
Yes.
I'd rather take the over. My compromise is the over because I really don't see Milwaukee not being able to score in this game. I just think Utah can potentially keep pace here. I am all over every Giannis prop you can possibly think of. I think Giannis is going to murder this entire team. I think he goes for 40, 15, and maybe 10. He might have a triple-double tonight. But from what I saw with Utah against Portland last game, with the zone defense or whatever the hell they're trying to do on defense, they are handing out dunks every possession. Not to mention Giannis overpowering everybody. And now you have Middleton out, so Giannis is going to have to shoot more. Giannis might score 50 tonight. I'm not even exaggerating. He might have an absolute just domination in this game. Give me every Giannis prop over. I think he kills this team. But I'm going to lean to Utah because it's fun.
I am on the assist for sure. And
I think triple-double is probably worth a look too. But Giannis, if he chooses to shoot the ball 25 times, he'll go to the line double-digit times, and he'll probably score 45.
I think Hardy is going to have, somewhat of a game plan. Like, he came from Boston. They, had those battles. I'm sure he has somewhat of a game plan. Whether it works or not is up to the players.
I'm
but
just saying they've been playing
I think he'll have a
zone,
game
which
plan.
doesn't work for the last week and a half.
I think that Giannis will have a good game scoring for a certain portion, and then that's why I got to the assist, because I think that at some point they're going to adjust, and Giannis is going to find open shooters, and he's going to rack up assists. I really do think a triple double is in the cards for Giannis tonight. Moonoff said since 2003, the Bucks are 1-18 straight up, 2-16-1 against the spread in Utah. He even broke it down to since 2016, and this is the height of the Bucks dynasty that they have going on right now. 1-5 straight up, 1-4-1 against the spread in Utah.
Giannis's PRA, by the way, is 50.5.
No, in Utah. Sorry.
No, oh God, Giannis's PRA is 50.5. Triple double's only 650 as well. That's I don't know if I can take that. I think he's got a decent shot at it, but 650?
I think the thing that's really going to screw them is if Walker Kessler gets into foul trouble. Like, that's what's going to screw them. If he gets
I like
into foul
Kessler
trouble,
a lot, but I watched them play a zone. They gave up 66 to Portland. Like, he's a great defensive player, but when he's not solely matching up in the paint and they have him side to side in the zone, you go to the other side. And Kessler's out of position. That's how Portland killed this team. I think you're going to see Giannis have a big game. The thing is, you mentioned Giannis potentially resting. Can he rest if we think Utah covers the spread? Doesn't that imply the game's actually close?
Yeah. So Giannis can't rest.
That's what I'm saying.
Giannis
If
is
you
going to
think
have a good
Utah's going
game.
to keep it close, then that means Giannis is still going to play north of 30 minutes.
There's a lot of props I like in this game. I just love this game. All right. Real quick on the total. 236.5. We're both on the over. That's pretty easy.
Yeah.
For the
Giannis
props,
40 plus is plus 390. Like, I know you said he might sit, but 390. I mean,
I didn't even say he might sit. I think that it's just more of there's going to be like at some point it's going to be an adjustment. And I think he's just going to become more of a willing passer. But I still think that he can easily get to the 30, even 40 points. Like, you're not going to sit here and tell him. I could honestly go through every team in the league and I can sit there. You can tell me, hey, Giannis scored 40 tonight. And I'd be like, yeah, probably can. Like, he's unguardable.
390, though? People might be right that he maybe gets a little extra rest because they got Jokic on deck, but they are still competing for the 1 seed, right? I mean, do we think they automatically just look ahead to the Denver game?
I think it's a slight look ahead for sure, and that's why they don't cover the spread. But I'm almost positive that Giannis still has a pretty good game. Like,
if you want, I might really annoy a bunch of people because we've seen it all season long. But are we sure Giannis doesn't go crazy? They beat Utah and then they bench half the team against Denver.
No,
we've seen it. Just gonna throw it out there. We've seen it this season. A lot of teams on national TV games will just bench half the team because they had an easy win the day prior. Just saying it's possible. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, y'all will talk about it tomorrow. All right. Kelly Olynyk, over 1.5 threes, minus 120. That actually has no more plus money on it. Wow, that sucks. All right. And neither does Abaji, over 2.5 and minus 125. Wow, you guys really suck.
That was a brutal
That was a fun
Abaji,
run.
by the way. Abaji had 2 3-pointers in like the first 5 minutes against Portland. He didn't hit another one for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun time getting those at plus money. I still like Olynyk, though. I think Olynyk could have a really good game today. Olynyk strikes me as somebody that has a 20-point game today.
Okay.
Just because he's going to stretch the floor on the outside, and they're gonna give him a couple of 3-point shots, and he's gonna knock them down. Where is THT assist? How much can I get on his assist today? 5.5 at plus 110. I like that. I'll add that to my card. Giannis triple-double is 5-1. That sucks.
It's 5-1, but I found a 650.
Okay. That's better. Still sucks.
I can try to look around and see if I find anything better, but I'm assuming it's going to be 650.
That assist prop I was talking about was at 6.5. That's actually like higher than I thought it was.
It's higher, but Middleton being out, they're assuming he's going to have the ball. I mean, do you pivot to a Drew Holiday double-double? Like, I'm trying to think of how you want to extract the most value out of this.
Holiday. I mean, Holiday's assist is at 8.5 at plus 110, so his double-double should be a pretty solid price. Yeah, I can buy Drew Holiday. All right, Drew Holiday double-double.
I'm just quickly seeing if I could find a better price on Giannis triple-double. I highly doubt it, but it's worth a shot.
Let's go Brook Lopez blocks as well.
Oh, boy. I found a Giannis triple-double at 13-1. I got to lock that in.
Yeah,
all right, give me a second. I got to lock that into my personal card.
Yeah.
Even if it loses, if you shop around enough, you occasionally find a book that gives you the dumbest odds possible. I'm getting 2 times the amount of value. I have to take Giannis triple-double at 13-1. I don't even care. That's an auto play as far as I'm concerned.
Brook Lopez over 2.5 blocks at plus 125. That's good.
I just hope I can actually bet this. 13-1. Wow. Okay. Always shop your lines, people. Always shop your lines.
When the time comes, Azubuike, I'm gonna bet him as well. He's at he's not at anything, but when they throw his prop up there, because I think there is a possibility that he gets more minutes if Walker Kessler gets in trouble today. So I think that he could have a good rebounding day. All right. Before we get to the next game of slate, let me talk to you about the presenting sponsor of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, and that is WynnBET. Look live in Massachusetts. You have the WinBet Win Hour. We talked about all this stuff, guys. Sign up today, get a special offer, bet $100, get $100 limited to state availability. You can use that for March Madness. You can use that for the WinBet Win Hour from 5 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can use that for the DGen Long Shot Parlay of the Week, where if you hit the parlay with the longest odds, even if it's just $1, the longest odds, you get $1,000 free credit. So much to choose from. All you have to do is head over to winbet.com or download the WinBet app. All subject to change, terms and conditions at winbet.com. Must be 21 or older in present state where playthrough WinBet is available. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. And you have a couple of watch parties coming up for us. The Final Four watch party, April 1st, 7:30 p.m. at the Ice House in Pasadena, California. Link up with the SGP guys, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/icehouse for that registration. And the Masters watch party, enter the Golf Gambling Podcast contest. That's the word I'm looking for. Contest. Hang out with Sean and Ryan at Stadium Swim for the Masters. 3-night stay at Circa Las Vegas. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com/golf party. And if you don't win the contest, you can still get a discounted room at SGP15. Promo code SGP15. This is for Circa Las Vegas and Stadium Swim. All right. Next game on the slate, we have this is fun. The Philadelphia 76ers going to play the Golden State Warriors in Golden State. Golden State opened up as a 2.5-point favorite. They are now at -5.5. 234.5 is the total. That's come up 1 point. Injury report for these two teams. And for the 76ers, you have Joel Embiid, who's questionable with the calf injury. James Harden, who's questionable with that Achilles. And Jalen McDaniels, who is questionable with the hip. And for the Golden State Warriors, we know you're not going to see Wiggins, and Gary Payton's actually ramping up production. He's not there yet, but it looks like he's coming back in the next week or so. Iguodala, Ryan Rollins, blah, blah. So relatively healthy for Golden State. I mean, Golden State is back at home.
We'll start with this. Do we think Harden and or Embiid actually play?
I think the perfect situation is Embiid plays, Harden doesn't. But
I think Harden's not going to play.
I hope Harden doesn't play. I just don't think he's there.
From what
we saw,
that I'll bet the under on everything for Harden.
Yeah, that's true. So I mean, we're going to cash regardless. But
he can't move. He has an Achilles injury. He can't use one of his legs. Like I'll take the under if he plays.
But I will entertain a thought of betting the 76ers in this game if Harden doesn't play. But if Harden does play, I'm not entertaining it at all. I'm going Warriors.
I'm on the Warriors anyway. I think
and McDaniels, let's not sleep on McDaniels being that questionable tag on him either. I'm watching that to make sure he plays as well. That's their best defender.
Yeah. And PJ Tucker's been banged up too lately. The whole team is on the verge of, I don't want to say resting people. I mean, Tucker's healthy now, but he's battled some injuries this season. Philly, they ended up getting back on track against Chicago last time out, but Harden didn't play. Embiid did, but he wasn't that effective. He didn't need to be because they were up by 30 basically at halftime. But the fact that Embiid's dealing with some tightness in his calf and with his injury history, there is a chance they maybe limit him moving forward to make sure that he's fully healthy for the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
I do think there's a bigger chance than people think of Harden and Embiid not playing tonight. But if I had to guess, Embiid plays, Harden doesn't. If I had to guess.
Yeah, I think. Did you see the odds for MVP and how they shifted? They dropped 100.
Yeah, Embiid went from like -260 to -160.
Yeah, it dropped $1 off of him missing a half, and so that's kind of telling.
That's actually very telling when you think about it, because Jokic had a pretty good game against Washington, but it wasn't good enough where you're like 50-point triple-double. It's like, no, it wasn't even that. It was just, it does seem like a lot of people are kind of pivoting because they think Embiid might be missing some games here. I think he should miss some games. I think Philly's got more important things to worry about.
I think he doesn't allow him. He is a prideful guy. If he can go, he's going, and he's going to make sure that you can't take anything from him, say he missed these couple games of the season.
Okay, but even if he does, are we sure that he's going to be able to put up even close to normal production? A calf injury is kind of a big deal because
against Golden State, I'm not. Against Golden State, I'm not worried.
If it was true, but I'm saying
maybe if it was a tougher matchup, I'd be a little concerned there. But I think one leg Embiid against Golden State's front court is pretty still tapped in for at least 25.
That's a
at the
good game, but
very
I'm just
least.
saying Golden State's going to make him run up and down the court. I think it's going to
Yeah,
be very difficult for him to actually move conditioning wise if he's
which is why
really
I'm on the
dragging
over.
one leg.
Which is why I'm
But
on over because I think
I'm
that
yeah.
he's going to not try at all on the defensive end, but he's going to put that effort to make sure he has a solid game, and you can't take anything on the offensive end. So, but it's really for me, it's just James Harden. Like if James Harden plays, I just cannot see a situation where Philly ends up winning this game.
With
I
the
truly
line
can't.
movement, I really think Embiid might not play either. I actually
It
did a
went 3
podcast
points.
talking about this game yesterday. I said I think Embiid's not going to play.
Yeah.
The line's moved. Once again, it's not like a simple injury that's going to go away quickly. Calf tightness. That's one of those like sketchy injuries where you don't know how long it's actually going to be there for. And you got the playoffs right around the corner. You got an Achilles injury for Harden. They might just try to give them extra rest to keep them healthy. I think Embiid, the more that I think about it, I think the less I actually have faith in him playing in this game. So I'm on Golden
I think
State.
why don't we just bet Golden State to win by 11?
Give me Golden State and give me Maxey props.
Yeah.
Like Maxey needs an excuse to shoot the ball 20 times.
What's Golden State's win margin? But Golden State is coming up. Was that a long road trip that Golden State was on?
Relatively, yeah. They have 5 straight games at home now, but they did just play 5 straight on the road, I think.
Oh yeah, that is. Oh man, I really don't like that first home game. People be like they be feeling themselves. But let me see this one. What's that? 11
Do we have
plus
any
is
player
plus one.
props
Oh, it's
for
only
this?
plus 180. That's not enough. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, we don't have any Philly props here. I was hoping to get maybe a Maxey 30 piece if I could bet that now, because if I really think Harden and Embiid are not going to play, Maxey might just chuck the ball 25 times.
I mean, I hope that at least one of them does play, so they undervalue Maxey and we still get that 30 piece. Maxey is score. He didn't give it for me last game. I think.
Well,
he
it
had
wasn't
like
his fault. They were up 30, but he had like 15 points in the first like 10 minutes.
I'm going. Give me Maxey. Maxey's going to score 30 today. That Golden State. Who's guarding him? Clay.
Nobody.
Okay. He'll cook Clay. I mean, there's nobody in the backcourt that can guard him. Maxey's scoring 30 today. That's probably one of my favorite plays today. Maxey 30 plus, whatever that line is going to be at. All right. I'm on over. Are you on over?
Yeah, I'm on the over. I think Golden State's going to play fast. I think Philly's going to bench their 2 slower paced players, and they'll end up playing a massive up-tempo game. I'm on the over. I think Golden State wins.
All right. Let's see here. Let's just Sony Brothers and Jason Goble. And
Paul
JT
Reed
Orr.
double if Embiid doesn't play.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The most underutilized player in the NBA.
Before I forgot, I had to mention Paul Reed double.
Brothers 31 and 24 to the over. Where's other Goble at?
I'm gonna ask, how much do the minor refs matter, or does it mostly just depend on who's the crew chief?
I don't know. We haven't been tracking this enough.
Yeah, we got to find some data.
Let's start tracking. All right, let's start tracking this. Starting today for the rest of the season, that's going to give us like a 10-game sample size, 8 to 10 game sample size on each team. And then we'll be able to So the refs will have about that's enough sample size from now to the end of the season. And
I'm just curious how much the small refs actually have a say in how the game gets officiated, or if the crew chief says, listen, we're calling these reaches every time. And he's like, all right, cool. They just follow the orders of what the crew chief wants.
It's all right. I'm going to find a ref, and I am going to have a nice conversation with them, and then they're going to tell me everything we need to know. So
we're getting Scott Foster on the pod?
Yeah. Hey, look, I feel like if we sent out requests to the refs, they would take the opportunity to tell their truth. Like these guys are very, very prideful.
The NBA would immediately shut that down. We'll try to get Donaghy on the pod.
Oh, I'm sending the email right now to
Donaghy.
Donaghy is 100% coming on the pod. He's 100% coming on the pod. Oh man, let me tip around some contacts. Maybe we can see if Donaghy wants to make an appearance. All right. Prop wise, anything else that we haven't talked about prop wise you like?
Just saying. That's a thought.
We haven't said much for Golden State players. Anything Golden State wise you like?
It's tricky because we think Golden State could bury this team if you end up seeing Philly bench half their guys. But I do think at the end of the day, Curry should have a big game. Clay threes, I mean, you're going with the usual suspects here. I'm trying to think of anybody else to pivot to. Poole you want to take, but he's going to just... I don't know if you can trust him on a game in, game out basis.
I mean, if I play Poole, the only way I'm playing Poole is like somebody just said in the chat. It scrolled up. I'm sorry, I don't know who it was, but if I play Poole, I'm playing Poole, and I'm playing him with parlaying him with whatever the highest spread that I can take Golden State to, because that's how Poole gets in the game and gets some easy shots and some buckets. Is if it's a blowout and he's just forced to be on the court because you're not playing Steph and Clay, and you got to put somebody else back out there. So why not Jordan Poole? Go out there, get your confidence back, and score some extra points.
I think I'm pivoting to DiVincenzo for role players. He's been good for that team.
Yes. Jordan Poole's been very frustrating. All right. DiVincenzo, 10 points is plus 120.
Didn't he have like 4 threes last game? Or like 5 threes last game?
15 points for DiVincenzo is plus 650. Jesus Christ. Like, he can be... Oh, no, you got to play that.
I'm just saying,
have to
like,
play that.
I don't know if
there could be a blowout, and DiVincenzo's going to be out there.
Even if it's not a blowout, he played 36 minutes against Atlanta, 22, 19, 14 in the last couple of games, but those games were somewhat close. Is DiVincenzo part of like the backup unit, kinda?
Yeah, I would.
He's kind of a tweener.
I mean, he's like Josh Hart for the
That's
Knicks.
fair. I'm just saying, last game, 4 for 10 from 3, which tells me 2 things. 1, he made 4 threes. 2, he attempted 10 3-pointers. They gave him 10 threes?
Yeah.
And 15 plus is in the 6-1 range?
DiVincenzo plus 120 for 10, plus 650 for 15. Like that. Come on, guys.
If you attempt 10 3-pointers in your last game playing, he attempted 10 threes in 24 minutes. You know how crazy that is? That is wild.
All right, let's move on. Next game of the slate. That was just insane. That pissed me off for him. Hey, Dante DiVincenzo, if you're listening to this, I would go crazy just because they're disrespecting you. Like I wouldn't take
me
that.
Personally.
I wouldn't let that slide at all. So I would go out there and drop 20, to be honest. But that's just me. I don't know. Maybe you're not built like me. All right. Next game of the slate, we have the Sacramento Kings hosting the Phoenix Suns. Line opened up at 3.5. I've actually seen this line move to 4.5. Now it's back at 3.5. 239 is the total. Injury report for these two teams, and we have for the Phoenix Suns, DeAndre Ayton is still out with that hip injury. You know, Kevin Durant's done for a little bit more. And for the Kings, Kevin Huerter is questionable with the D. He practiced in full on Thursday, so
they've been so
could be
bad
playing
without
today.
him.
Could play. I mean, it's simple for me. Phoenix, they're 6 games without Kevin Durant. They are 1-5 straight up, 0-6 against the spread. I mean, the public is on Phoenix. It looks like even some sharp money has come on Phoenix, and that's why that line moved back down to 3.5. 69% of the bet, 75% of the money is on Phoenix. I'm really good, yo. I'm really good. I want to take Sacramento at home.
My concern has been the defense, and that was an issue for the entire season. It's not anything new, but you have 128 to Utah. Markkanen didn't even play in that game. They gave up 128 points, and they gave up 132 to Boston. Phoenix hasn't been good lately. I'll toss the Lakers game in the garbage because that's Scott Foster out of their control situation there, so I'm not going to factor that in. But I see a lot of points in this game. I like the over. I think I'm going to lean to Sacramento, but it's mostly concerning to me that Sacramento is laying 3. Like, I really wanted Phoenix, based on reputation, to be favored in this game. So Sacramento laying 3 without Huerter doesn't exactly make me feel great about the situation. But Phoenix has really not been good lately.
They haven't covered a spread.
I know. I think I'm going to lean to Sacramento, but I really don't feel great about it. We got another Monty Williams referee rant after the Lakers game. Well-deserved, by the way. Lakers outshot them 46-20 in free throw attempts. I
I
think
mean, we
Reeves
knew
had
that.
what?
It was Scott Foster. We knew that was going to
I was going to
happen.
say the Reeves had what? 15 free throw attempts, 12 free throw attempts. Reeves.
He had all the free throw attempts that Anthony Davis was supposed to have.
I don't know how he gets more free throw attempts than Curry, but that's a separate story. I'm going to lean Sacramento at home. It's a game that both teams kind of need to have. Sacramento's been slumping, but they're 5 games up in the division. They kind of have the division wrapped up already. I see a lot of points, so I don't mind Booker props, Fox props, basic stuff. But I'm going to lean Sacramento. Ayton has historically been really, really good against the Kings, and the Kings can't guard him. Now you're using Biyombo, who realistically has no offensive talent at all. I think Ayton being out is actually a big deal for the Suns here. I'm going to go with the
It
Kings.
is. It's too much offense that's gone. Think of it.
I got to read.
I mean, we talked
off his
about it.
numbers though against the Kings.
We talked about it. Ayton is out. And now the Kevin Durant trade. So you don't have Bridges' offense. You don't have Cam Johnson's offense. Like they're missing so much offense on this team. And that's why they've been so bad recently. Like I get that. And probably we can get some cheap props on some role players for Phoenix just because Sacramento is so bad defensively. Some role players are going to have a good game today. But man, with how De'Aaron Fox takes over a fourth quarter, I mean, in term of the show, because we pick every game against spread, I'm taking the Kings -3.5. But how do I not just take some prop and Kings on the money line and just say that De'Aaron Fox is going to take over the fourth quarter and make sure that they win the game?
Yeah, I think I'd rather play this like Fox 20 plus points and Kings money line, and that's like -120. Like I'd rather take that. I don't feel great about the spread, but I do want to read off the 8 numbers against Sacramento because I knew he was good against Sacramento, but I got to read these off. These numbers are kind of nuts against the Kings. So for starters, he has had a double-double against Sacramento in 8 straight games. 22 and 12, 29 and 11, 17 and 12, 12 and 10, 21 and 21, 26 and 11, 11 and 15. He's been nuts against the Kings, and you're replacing with Biyombo. So I am going to go with the Kings here. I feel better about the money line, but I like the over. I see points. You mentioned a role player having a good game here. I'm looking up Biyombo double-double because the rebounds should be there. The question is points.
All right.
Biyombo double-doubles plus 550.
Bro, he sucks.
I know he's so bad.
He sucks. So bad. I don't like. I'm not. I mean, I'm letting you. I'm letting you get your rocks off, and I'll let you take your victory lap if you get it right. But I'm good on Biyombo. He sucks, man.
He doesn't attempt any shots, but I mean, the argument is who's the other options? You got like Landell getting minutes. Who else?
I would much rather take Landell than Biyombo, honestly. At least when I see Landell on the court, I'd be like, all right, he does some like Biyombo is just a tall guy that's kind of runs around. He airballed a free throw the other day. Like, I'm really good on Biyombo. All right. Before we get into the rest of the games,
for starting center, I'm just saying it's 550. Like I don't mind that price.
Nah, I wouldn't mind the price if it was literally any other starting center in the league. Okay, Underdog Fantasy is heating up for March Madness. You can play college pick'em contests. You still have a bunch of NBA action that you can get down. They have college basketball player props as well. So look for Kalkbrenner tonight. I expect Kalkbrenner to have a really, really good game.
He better have Princeton. A big game against Princeton.
Just load me up on Kalkbrenner props tonight. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's promo code SGPN at UnderdogFantasy.com. All right. Chicago Bulls are laying 2.5 points on the road against the Portland Trailblazers. Line opened up -1 Portland, and it flipped almost immediately to -2.5. Chicago, and it stayed true there. 226 is the total. That stayed true as well. For the injury report for these two teams, we have for the Chicago Bulls, DeMar DeRozan is questionable with the quad injury. Alex Caruso is questionable with the foot. Javonte Green is probable with the knee. And for the Portland Trailblazers, Dame Lillard is probable with the calf injury. You're not going to see Anthony Simons or Jeremy Grant in this game. You have a questionable tag on Nurkic for a knee and a questionable tag on Nasir Little for a concussion. Yeah, let's just go ahead and take Chicago and just move on.
Portland screwed me last game. So they're destined to lose this game by 15. Right? I mean, the only thing I like about Portland now is the fact that Lillard, I guess, has another game before getting shut down. and they've actually given Sharp a bunch of minutes because of all the injuries they've had. Sharp looked really good against Utah. He looked really good. I'm hoping they'll keep letting him cook. Yeah, I don't really see much else changing here. I'll lean to Chicago, I guess. I don't feel great. I'm not going to bet on this game. If you want to bet on it, go to a meeting.
Yeah,
But
I'm really
I'm
good
not
on
going to
betting
bother.
Chicago, but I mean, yeah, just give me Chicago 2.5. All right, 226 is the total.
Over. I'm on the over. That's really all I kind of like. They played once this season back in February. Game landed 250, no overtime. I see points. Portland's not going to guard anybody. Offensively, they're pretty good. But Chicago had a couple of ugly games there against Philly. Philly plays a slower brand. They're a good defensive team. I see this being a lot more up tempo, and I see a lot of another over. We like a lot of overs tonight.
Yeah.
I could see a Levine 40 piece. I could see a DeRozan 30 piece. I could see a Levine. I could see a Lillard 40 piece. I see a lot of points. I'm on the over.
Yeah.
This feels low, doesn't it? I figured this total would blindly be in the 230s.
So my concern is that there's no movement at all. Like there's no movement at all on here, and I mean, there's two different sides. You have the public that is on the over, and you have the sharps that are putting their money on the under. But the line hasn't moved. Like if the sharps are really putting their money on the under, that line would have moved something. But the line hasn't moved. So I really think that is nobody knows what to do. That's why just don't bet this game. Just don't bet this game. Or if
I'm
you do,
not.
just go for props. And if for any props, I mean Vucevic, yeah,
You
I
want to
like
go
your
Lillard
Levine angle as
double-double?
well. Who else is scoring? I mean, well, yeah, okay, maybe if you get Shady and Sharp some more minutes, then I go. And Cameras could. All right. I can be talked into a little double.
Is this a good matchup for Nurkic? Are we ready to have this dangerous conversation? I think
I'll
it's a
tell you in,
decent matchup, at
I'll
least
tell
on
you
the
in a second.
boards. There are like no props available for this game.
Nurkic versus because that injury report was gnarly.
Lillard's over/under, by the way, is 35.5. Nurkic is questionable. He might not even play.
All right, so Nurkic versus Vucevic game log. We got 11-4, 16-13, 18-10, 9-11.
That's kind of looking at
11 and
double-double
8,
as my main
12
option
and
there.
12. Yeah, so you got in what's this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games against Vucevic in Portland. He's had a double-double in 4 of them.
Okay.
But he's only played against him one time while he was in Chicago, and that was the 11-4 game.
By the way, I see DeRozan is questionable. If DeRozan ends up not playing, I will just assume Levine takes 25 shots, and I'll probably just assume he goes for 40. Right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't need an excuse to shoot more, but if DeRozan's out, he's going to shoot more. So Levine points and threes, I'll probably pivot to.
Yeah. All right. I'm good. That's an ugly game.
Very.
Watch Portland mess around and win. Watch. All right. Oklahoma City Thunder going to play the Los Angeles Lakers. This is their 3rd game in LA in 4 nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3rd game in LA in 4 nights. Lakers are laying 5.5. 232.5 is the total. That's come up 2 points from 230.5. That 5.5 stayed true from open. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, we have, well, you're not going to know much because they played last night, but I did see something that said that SGA could play, even though, he hasn't played back-to-backs, I don't think since the All-Star break, and they said that he wouldn't, but now, I guess, because they know that they're literally on the outside looking into the play-in, and the Lakers are in the play-in, so this is a really, really big game that you need to win to flip you and the Lakers standing is in the play-in. So it would be very, very smart to play SGA. And honestly, if they sit SGA, they're tanking. That's clearly what it is. If they sit SGA this game, they're tanking. Like there's no.
They were like the 7 seed going into yesterday's game. Can they tank? They're kind of in too deep at this point, aren't they?
I think they are, but I mean, if SGA does not play this game, I cannot bet OKC for the rest of the year. I can't. That is terrible. All right,
OKC has been very good historically against the Lakers, but the fact that like Shea is questionable for a game that has pretty heavy implications on the standings,
like it just makes me think that they're gonna flip the script and not play him. Hopefully, the questionable tag is like a hey, he might not play. Maybe you should game plan for Isaiah Joe or something.
I'm
But
just saying the
I
fact that it's
just
even a discussion,
it
despite how
should not be a
meaningful this
discussion.
game
It
is,
should not be a discussion.
it's a red flag for me.
It's
It
honestly
really
just because
is.
he's young. I truly think it's just because he's a young player in the league. I think if he was 30, he would go in there and be like, I'm playing. There's no way I'm not playing. And they would listen to him. But because he's a young guy, they feel like they know what's best for him or something like that. Whatever. Finish out the injury report. Anthony Davis is probable. You all knew that. Other than that, everything else is good for Lakers. No Obama, no LeBron James. I'd have no idea what to do with this because I have no idea what to do with SGA. If SGA plays, then I feel like I'm on the OKC. But if he doesn't play, I'm clearly on the Lakers.
I'm rooting for the Thunder because I really want this team to actually get into the playoffs. But with Shea talking about how he could play, and it's such a meaningful game, the fact that we're even having this language and everything like that,
Stupid.
I'm kind of just leaning to the Lakers. Something seems very fishy about this game, doesn't it?
I think that is so stupid. You're trying to, what are you injury managing him for if your season is going to be over?
Oh, it's
you have
extremely
nothing
stupid.
to manage him for if the season is going to
But
be
even
over.
the game yesterday, right? Like Paul George injured. They just beat the Clippers. Clippers are favored in that game by 3, and they buried the crap out of him. Like something fishy is going on with OKC lines. I'm a bit concerned by it.
Oh no, I knew. Well, I knew that it was clearly going to be.
I didn't think they'd get buried.
Yeah, I thought they were going to get buried. I
Really?
knew. Yeah, because it was the back-to-back game set, and Paul George just went down, and what we thought possibly could have been season ending, and it is season ending for him. That was 100% a get up spot for them. And
You could argue as a get up. I didn't think they'd lose by 20 plus points. They no-showed the game.
The back-to-back game set, it's still the Clippers. They're very, very spiteful. That's not surprising to me at all. That doesn't have any question mark for me in terms of OKC lines. My only thing is, and my only concern is that because I think the Lakers should be favored regardless, but
it should be 3, 5.5 is huge.
If SGA plays, it definitely goes back down. And this is kind of telling me that SGA is not playing, but if SGA doesn't play, they should get buried. They should get buried because it truly just means that they're just deciding that we're giving up on the playoffs.
I don't know how the rest of the team is supposed to get up for these meaningful games when the front office is telling their best player when you're competing for a playoff spot or a play-in spot, listen, we don't really care. Like, how are you supposed to motivate your players if the front office is waving the flag on some games? For the end of the day, I'm going to lean to the Lakers because I think this line stinks, and I think there's a decent chance that either Shea doesn't play or he plays briefly and plays 20-something minutes. I think I like the under in Shea props, honestly. I really don't think the Thunder are going to give him a full workload in this game based on the language that they're using surrounding his status for this game.
I'm not. I
said I'm thinking about it, but I'm going to lean to the Lakers.
That thought ain't crossed my mind at all. That thought ain't crossed my mind.
I'm going to lean to the Lakers, but something about this injury status does seem extremely sketchy, so I'm going to lean to the Lakers. Plus, Austin Reeves is going to the free throw line 15 times a game. That's a conspiracy.
It's a catch-22 for me. I don't even think that's the right saying, but whatever. If SGA plays, I'm going OKC. If
it's
SGA
correlated,
doesn't play,
I get
I'm going for Lakers. Yeah, so super easy.
I'm on the over anyway.
4 teams with a 36-37 record in the Western Conference: the Mavericks, Lakers, Pelicans, and Thunder. Minnesota's 37-37. Utah's 35-37. So, all right. Total 232.5.
Over.
Yeah.
Just even if Shea doesn't play, the pace.
Just give me a Lakers team total over. I feel good about that regardless. Lakers team total over.
I can't ignore the fact that the free throw disparity in their games has been so huge that I just assume the Lakers are going to get the benefit of the whistle every time.
Yeah, I'm 232.5 every single time. What? Who's the rest of this game?
You have David Guthrie. By the way, Reeves double-double again. I know it's unlikely, but still. Double-double for Reeves, 11-1.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's going to be a high total. 11-1?
Guthrie's 29-21 and 1 to the home team against the spread.
Do you have the over-under?
26-24.
Okay. That's basically
117 points. No, 117.9 points per game.
Do you want to take a flyer on Reeves double-double?
I feel like if I say it, he's not going to get it.
It's fair. I'm not sure if he's going to get it either, but 11-1 for a guy who
I'm
had
gonna just go back to Vanderbilt. Or at least 10, at the very least 10 plus rebounds for Vanderbilt.
It is really a good matchup for Reeves to get a bunch of assists because you're hoping AD walks into 30 points.
Yeah.
You never know with AD, which is why a lot of
But it's
people hate
like you
betting
never
on him.
know you never know who the person feeding AD the ball is going to be. Like it could be D'Lo, it could be freaking Schroeder off the bench, and he has a 10 assist day. Like AD is he's just pipeline for everybody else. But yeah, his basic assist prop at 5.5. I like
11-1 though. I might throw that in something. A 2-pick long shot parlay, like $25 to win $1,000. Maybe I'll throw that in there.
Vanderbilt's double number keeps getting bigger, and I'm gonna just keep betting it
because he can't score. I mean, the rebounds are going to be there most of the time. He just doesn't look at the rim.
I know.
But it's a good matchup for him because the Thunder are horrible on the glass. So you could get a lot of putbacks for
that's what I'm hoping for,
Vanderbilt.
offensive rebounds, and he scores like that. All right. Anything else you got?
No, I just see points in this game. Do you want to make a giddy triple-double case?
If SGA doesn't play, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's see here. We're going to our lock and dog. This is a huge slate.
I don't remember what the hell we even liked. There's so many games on the card.
I know. All right. Let's see here. For my lock, I am going to... do I do Sacramento?
Take Detroit.
Yeah.
That's
how. Yep, that's how I do it. All right. Yep. Lock 14 plus 14.5 with the Detroit Pistons. Easy. Plus 14.5 with the Detroit Pistons. That is my lock. For my dog, we are going with the money line. It's plus 260 for the San Antonio Spurs. Thank you, Scott. That is. I was just about to make the Spurs plus 8 my lock, but no, that's how I would much rather do that. So plus 14.5 for Detroit. That's my lock. Spurs plus 260 is the dog. And which one of them? Dang it. What player prop? Oh, yeah. Jalen Duran.
Oh, we're throwing in props too? You want to do a lock, dog, and a prop?
Oh, yeah. We did really good last time we did it with that 10-game slate. I don't want to mess the juju up because I got that Bobby Portis at 3-1 double. So I'm coming back, and whatever I get Duran at for that double price, I'm playing it. I don't have it up here, but Bagley and Wiseman are in like the 2-1 range, and they're starting. So I could be like 3-1, maybe close to 4-1. That's what I'm on. Yeah, give me Durant. He's going to get the matchup on coming off the bench. He is going to get the matchup. All right, what are you doing?
All right. So for me, for the lock, I really wanted to take Detroit too. 14.5 is so crazy. Yeah, you know what? Let's live a little bit. This might age horribly. I'll go with Detroit plus the 14.5. We'll double lock the Pistons. It's a dangerous, slippery slope we're going on, but I can't lay 14.5 with Toronto. And Detroit historically with Dwayne Casey or whatever angle you want to use, they've been very good against Toronto historically speaking. So I'll go with Detroit.
And guess what? We still don't know if Scotty Barnes and Gary Trent Jr. are going to play. They didn't play in the last game. They didn't practice yesterday. They could very well not play. And then that's just even more like, what?
I'm just saying, if Toronto covers the spread with Van Vliet attempting 20-plus shots, I'll take my chances. Let's put it that way. So give me Detroit plus the 14.5 as my lock.
Matter of fact, do we have props? Did we have props in that game already?
Well, we mentioned Duran, but we didn't have lines on that yet. We talked about Wiseman double potentially.
Oh, yeah. Here, okay, so Van Vliet's number is at 22.5 right now. His 35-plus points is 12-1. That is the only way they cover 14.5. So if you want to be a gardener and hedge, you just hedge it with his 35-plus points because that means that he had an efficient day with those 25 shots he's taking. And that's the only way possible I can see them covering 14.5 is that he went crazy for 3 quarters.
Yeah, I can understand that. I'm also looking potential. You know what? No, I'm not a fan of it. I thought about maybe Ivy double-double at 14-1, but I see Wiseman double-doubles plus 250.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This
That's
come on,
kind of
guys.
wild. All right.
That's
Anyway,
why I
so my
think
lock's going to be
Durant is going to
my,
be a huge price when it comes up.
my lock's going to be the Pistons plus 14.5. My dog. How nuts do I want to go with this one? This might sound like the dumbest play of all time, but you know what? We're going to have some fun. We like a lot of we have a prop section too. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Spurs money line. But honorable mention for the Hornets money line at 7-1.
So did you just take the same lock and dog as me? That's
I
bad
did,
juju.
but I thought you took first half.
No, I took the full game.
I thought you said you were purposefully staying away from the Spurs full game because you thought they might punt the game in the second half.
Yeah, but that was until they went and outscored the Hawks by like 30 something in the second half. And then I said, all right, well, I'm pivoting. If you're taking a full game, I'm pivoting to the 2-1 first half because there's no way we can take the same lock and dog. That is bad juju.
Honorable mention Hornets money line at like 7 or 8-1. Honorable mention. Gonna throw that out there. We'll see what happens, but maybe Gordon Hayward has a game. Who knows?
Yeah.
But anyway, that's gonna be my dog. And for the prop that I like a lot of props. I mean, the Reeves double-double's tempting. I mentioned Giannis triple-double at 13-1, which is interesting. You know what? I'm going to go back to that Pistons game. I can't ignore it. Wiseman double-double staring me in the face. 250? Really? I mean, sure. I feel like I got to take that. Wiseman's been really good lately, and people might think negatively about him because of how badly it failed in Golden State. But I got to read off these numbers here. I mean, he had 6 and 5 against Atlanta. He had 6 fouls, so he was in foul trouble the entire night. Games before that, 22 and 13, 14 and 9, 12 and 10, 18 and 14, 16 and 9, 16 and 13. Last game against Toronto, he only played 20 minutes because he was in foul trouble. He still had a double-double in 20 minutes of playing time. It's plus 250. I'll go with Wiseman double-double as my prop.
All right.
Wait, so what's your prop?
Durant.
Okay.
Jalen.
Cool. I'll bet both.
Double.
Somebody's gonna have to ring on the ball.
Yeah, like I mean, Durant's that's what I said. Wiseman's at 250. I think Bagley's at like 252. Durant's coming off the bench. His is gonna be
Durant might be like 12-1, 14-1.
Yeah, like we're gonna get so much value. And the thing is, those two have to battle with Jakob. If Durant plays staggered minutes, he's probably gonna get nobody challenging him for boards.
Thaddeus Young.
Yeah, like what? I'm so good.
I'm just saying, I mentioned it before. If you want to parlay Durant double-double with Reeves double-double, and you have a 12-1 parlayed with an 11-1, you have my blessing.
Yeah,
$20 to win a grand.
I mean, there's like a lot of so we have Wiseman, Durant, Richards, Olynyk, Reeves.
Richards would have been my prop if they had lines listed, but they don't have a line listed.
Giannis triple-double. Like there's a lot of ways you can go with this today, guys. So many ways.
Are we robining a 7-pick?
Oh, I am 100. I'm 100% putting something. I don't know what it's gonna be yet, but it's gonna be something put together for sure.
I bet Giannis straight at 13-1 for triple-double because I found one book that just has the most absurd line imaginable, so I had to bet that. But whatever.
All right. Anything else for people, Scott, before we go?
Not really. Munaf is like half blackmailing, extorting the chat into liking the show because he's threatening to not have a show tomorrow. So I don't know if I'm working tomorrow. That's up to Munaf. I'll keep that in mind. I might have time off. I might not. So keep an eye out for the NBA show or don't. Who knows? But I'll be watching college basketball tonight. A lot of NBA games on the card too. I'll be watching hockey. Let's go Islanders. Besides that, find me on Twitter, Show Radio. I'll be doing a tennis podcast some point this weekend.
All right. You guys know where I'm at @reallyreal__. Make sure you support all the podcasts on network. Support my new podcast, Hardwood Culture Podcast. Dropped the episode today. I believe that's online, actually. I know it's on Spotify. Apple takes forever. So it might not be. Oh, no, it is on Apple. There it goes. So I'll have to tweet that out after I get finished this. But you can actually go check that out now. 20-minute show, gave out some NBA picks, NBA prop, college basketball prop. Please help support this. We have a lot of people that listen to this show, like a lot of people that listen to this show. So I just need like half of y'all to come over to my show. Like that's it. So come on, come to the dark side. And I had a great intro to the show today. You should go listen. And if you know, you know. Just if you know, you know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Important question: do you have an outro for that show?
No, I do not. I do the
Okay, at
same
least you're
thing that I'm.
consistent. You know.
Yes, I do the same thing that I'm about to do right now. And I'm just going to tell you to subscribe to everything. You can subscribe to NBA Gambling Podcast and follow us on Twitter. And then I'm going to sit here and I'm going to say that I have no other idea of how I'm in the podcast. I'm just end it like this. We are out of here.